Wait a minute. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I thought Angel Reese was responsible for elevating the WNBA dump. I thought Angel Reese was responsible for taking the dump and turning it into an unmonetizable turd. Now, to her credit, it is a nicely polished turd. It almost looks appealing. Almost. Of course, it's still not appealing enough to generate profit, but I guess the WNBA is taking baby steps. I mean, what's one more year of multi-million-dollar losses? I thought Angel Reese was the star of stars, the icon of icons. That's what the mainstream media keeps telling me. Headline at Forbes from last month. How Angel Reese and A'ja Wilson are leading the WNBA's growth. Who? Who in the hell is A'ja Wilson? Uncle KC, she is the best player in the league. She's the most valuable dump diver. A'ja Wilson is a huge star. Oh, I think you're talking about AJ Wilson. But my name is A'ja.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
According to Forbes, Angel Reese is arguably the biggest star in the WNBA because she has more social media followers than everyone else. But like I say all the time, popularity on social media, that does not equate to the mainstream. There are lonely man's models with millions of followers on social media. There are young women who have thousands of lonely dudes paying them hundreds of dollars a month, maybe even thousands of dollars a month, to watch them put mayonnaise on the grilled wiener. If those same women booked a cross-country tour where they were selling tickets for their act, they would probably sell as many tickets as Jemele Hill sold books. None. The mainstream media seems to be struggling with the difference between a star and a mainstream draw. Throughout the history of the WWE, there have been thousands of so-called superstars. Hell, every performer in the company is called a superstar. Last week, the WWE announced that they were releasing a dozen or so of their wrestlers. The list of released wrestlers, it looked like a missing persons report. We regret to announce the release of some of our cherished talent. All performers are required to return their underwear and spray tan immediately. Braun Strowman, Mark Coffey, Danny Palmer. Who, and who? If Braun Strowman was the headliner, there would be more people in the ring than in the audience. In the history of the WWE, there have been thousands and thousands of superstars, but there's only been a handful of mainstream draws. You could say the same about the NBA. There are a lot of stars in the NBA, Anthony Edwards, SGA, Giannis, but there's only a select few that have mainstream drawing power, and none of them have been able to match the drawing power of Michael Jordan, just like no one in the WWE has been able to come anywhere remotely close to matching the drawing power of Austin and Rock. When you come across something this rare, you do everything in your power to maximize it. You don't share credit. You don't pretend that other people are responsible. Back in the 90s, no one was pretending that Reggie Miller was responsible for elevating the NBA. And if they did, Reggie Miller would be the first to tell you that the credit should be given to Black Jesus. But for some reason, the dump divers in the WNBA, they want their share of the credit for the elevation of the league. Sharing is caring. Yeah, the problem is there's only one player in this league that people actually care about, Caitlin Clark. And the proof was once again in the ratings. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel is in the description below. Today on the second channel, going to be talking about this ridiculous lawsuit in the NFL. Some lonely asshole is anonymously suing the league over Shedeur Sanders collapsing in the draft. Whichever court-appointed attorney accepted this case, they should be immediately disbarred. The plaintiff is claiming emotional distress, probably because they lost money betting on the NFL draft. It's absolutely ridiculous. So if you haven't already, click the link in the description below. Subscribe to the second channel. Headline at Sports Media Watch. Caitlin Clark attracts over 1 million viewers for WNBA preseason game. Let that sink in. Over 1 million viewers for a preseason game in the WNBA. Before Caitlin Clark, this dump hadn't drawn 1 million viewers since 2008. We used to have to combine monthly ratings for WNBA nationally televised games just to reach 1 million viewers. I remember a few years ago, ESPN went 5, maybe even 6 consecutive weeks during the regular season without broadcasting a WNBA game. Now they are begging to broadcast pretend basketball. Obviously, ESPN doesn't want the Phoenix Masculines versus the LA Sparkles, but any game involving Caitlin Clark, even if it's a scrimmage against a local YMCA team like the Atlanta Dreamers, ESPN, they want to broadcast it. Sunday, ESPN featured Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Felines against the best AAU team from Brazil. The Roo from Waterloo drew 1.3 million viewers, which was a 13% increase over the WNBA's regular season average on ESPN last year. Viewership also exceeded ratings for Game 1 of the WNBA Finals. How is that possible? Game 1 of the WNBA Finals, it features the highest stakes in the dump. The winner of the series receives all-season access to the Golden Toilet, the most coveted prize in the WNBA. That's why players are fighting so hard in the WNBA Finals. They want access to the bathroom with running water. What Caitlin Clark was playing on Sunday, it was essentially a scrimmage, or as the rest of the WNBA would call it, a regular season game, the regular season. But how in the hell is a meaningless preseason game outdrawing a less meaningless game in the WNBA Finals? To make matters worse for their pretend friends in the mainstream media, Caitlin Clark dominated her competition this past weekend. If you can call Angel Reese, AJ Wilson, and Paige Bueckers competition. If you combine the flies they drew to their turds last weekend, you would have one fly with broken wings. Friday night, the Dallas Wankers played the Las Vegas Anonymous Faces. According to the WNBA marketing department, this game was historic! The #1 pick in the draft against the most unrecognizable MVP in the history of sports. This game was amazing! The excitement going into this historic event, it was unmatched. The demand for tickets was so high, the WNBA could not schedule the game in one of their usual high school gyms. They had to rent a community center or a civic center. Maybe the proper term is pavilion. The demand was so high, the game was scheduled at the Mecca of basketball, one of the major cities in America. The Wankers and the Anonymous Faces, they traveled to the regional airport in South Bend, Indiana to play at the Purcell Pavilion. According to Notre Dame's website, the Purcell Pavilion can hold around 9,200 people. With a game of this magnitude featuring a star the caliber of Paige Bueckers, I was expecting a crowd of at least 10,000, standing room only. Unfortunately, Paige and AJ only managed to sell 7,600 tickets, which was damn near equivalent to the audience that they drew on television. The game was broadcast Friday night on ION or ION. It drew 406,000 viewers, which is significantly less than what the unknowns at CNN average every night in prime time. I expect the unknowns at CNN to struggle, but I thought the WNBA was being elevated by these big stars. Big stars are supposed to draw a big audience, right? Then why can't Paige Bueckers sell out a 9,000-seat arena? But that's okay. Paige and AJ, they were the undercard. They were the preview to the main event, because the main event Friday night featured the star of stars. The main event featured the icon that the mainstream media credits for elevating the WNBA. Angel Reese and the Chicago Bravado against the same AAU team from Brazil that Caitlin Clark played on Sunday. I know Angel Reese was dealing with the disadvantage of having a bad lead-in. Paige and AJ averaged 400,000, but the anonymous faces, they put a spanking on the Bueckers. Game was a blowout. It was over by halftime. By the end of the game, the only people watching on television were family and friends who weren't interested enough in using their free tickets to watch the game in person. But that should not affect Angel Reese. A star of this magnitude, she shouldn't need a strong lead-in to draw an audience. Earlier this week, Angel Reese attended the Met Gala dressed as a member of the Addams family, and she received thousands of likes on social media. With a fan base that invested, Angel Reese should easily be able to draw 750,000 viewers, right? Maybe those expectations are a bit too high. I mean, this is a preseason game. Maybe 500,000 would be a better benchmark. At minimum. Angel Reese should be able to maintain the 400,000 viewers that Paige Bueckers delivered, right? Angel Reese and the Chicago Bravado, they drew 305,000 viewers. This is your star? This is who you claim is elevating the dump? I saw a walrus trying to seduce a hippopotamus on the Discovery Channel, and it drew more than 305,000 viewers. Infomercials featuring the My Bankrupt Pillow guy eclipsed 305,000 viewers. This is your icon? Caitlin Clark is outdrawing the preseason in the NBA, NHL, and Major League Baseball. And Angel Reese is over here struggling to compete with Willie Walrus? Like I've been telling you guys over the past few weeks, I think Angel Reese is on the decline. I think her drawing power is descending, and Angel Reese is at serious risk of being overshadowed in the WNBA this season. And I think she knows it. Give me your thoughts on this. Caitlin Clark draws the largest preseason audience since 2018 for anything not associated with the NFL. Paige Bueckers' preseason debut fails to sell out. Angel Reese continues to struggle. Now, the media, they are not going to quit. They are going to continue to push Paige Bueckers and Angel Reese as faces of the WNBA. Question is, will it work? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.